I'm Claire McGonigal. I'm here today chatting with my colleague Andrew Redfern. Andrew's the Chief Executive of Framework, a charity that works to serve homeless and vulnerable people. We're talking about the implications of the October budget on the charity sector. So, Andrew, straight into that, what was your reaction when you saw the increase in the employer's national insurance rate?
Well, first of all, I didn't believe it. I thought this surely can't be right. And when I did the calculations and realised it was right, that came as an enormous shock. As you know, we've been looking to highlight over a number of years the value and the importance of supported housing and housing related support and how they add value to public services. We knew that it was a long haul to sort of get it onto the agenda of the new government. What we didn't expect was that things would get so dramatically worse so quickly. It's a £1.1 million a year hit to Framework for the employer's national insurance contributions, about another 700,000 due to the increase in the national living wage. So altogether we've got to find £1.8 million a year, and we just don't have that, as you know, yes, in our budgets.
And what do you think the implications are for Framework?
Well, you and I and our colleagues have worked very hard in recent years to keep the organisation financially viable. We have very small operating margins. Our contracts, many of them have not been increased in value for many years, so we have to keep absorbing inflation every year. All that work that we and our staff have done to basically keep our heads above water, all of that now has been negated by this, and we have to sit down now and look at our future budgets and say what cuts need to be made, and that, we've done all the efficiency savings. This is now about frontline services that are going to impact on some of the most vulnerable people in the community, and we're going to have to ask ourselves, what's the best way to make those cuts to ideally minimise the impact but keep the organisation viable.
So what's been the response from the government so far?
Well, as you know, we signed a joint letter that was prepared by NCVO and Akivo, and there's been a reply from Rachel Reeves, which I have to say is really disappointing. It doesn't address the points that are raised. It talks about pretty irrelevant things like, what the lottery is doing and the Social Enterprise Boost Fund. What it doesn't address is the withdrawal, pretty much at the stroke of a pen, of £1.4 billion of resource out of the charitable sector. It talks about small organisations and some protections for them, but actually charities come in all shapes and sizes, and they do work which not only adds value to public services, but sometimes is the public service. And there are going to be negative impacts, and I think in the end this is going to cost a lot more money than it saves.
What do you think the options might be that the Chancellor could look at in terms of supporting the charitable sector?
Well, the joint letter from Akivo and NCVO asks that the protection that's being afforded to statutory organisations in their NI bill be extended to the charitable and third sector, and I would certainly support that case. The impact of this, not just on the staff of our organisation, the people that we serve, but also the public services that we support, is going to be dramatic. And I think when you look at the cost of that, it would actually be better to extend the protection to the third sector, which is actually, on the whole, more productive than the public sector.
And what do you want to say to our staff, Andrew, in light of this problem?
I really feel for our staff, and I resent the message that this gives to them. We have many heroic people in Framework doing very professional, very demanding work for not much more than the national living wage. We've been working on plans to try and ease that, to mitigate that and reward people better for what they do. We'd started to talk to our board about how we might cover the cost of doing that. This change just blows a hole in that, and I'm really disappointed, devastated really, about what we're going to have to do as a result of this. Our staff, though, can rest assured that we will continue to make the case for them and the value of the work that they do.
What are your thoughts on this, Claire? Is there anything you'd like to add to what I've said?
So I suppose it's consolidated my thinking. The system around us is really broken at the moment, and taking such a huge amount out of the charitable sector at the point of trying to make something better and to design something better feels at best counterintuitive and at worst stupid.